Welcome to The Change, a podcast about the changes in life that shake, break, and make us. I'm Laura, a 45-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum who has until recently always loved change.
And I'm Cathy, a 53-year-old writer, podcaster, and mum, and change is actually my kryptonite. We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia on which this podcast is recorded and recognise the continuing connections to lands, waters and communities.
We pay our respects to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures and elders past and present.
Hey Laura, how are we going?
Good, Cathy. How about you?
I am really, I'm good. No, I'm good. We'll go with good.
And we'll go with good, because otherwise it could be a whole long conversation.
Yeah, I know, right? Like that, and that's enough.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
Exactly. Midlife is a challenge. But yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our guest today. It's the wonderful Jane Hollier. She's the writer behind the sometimes funny, sometimes serious, always awkward Substack, Letters to My Dead Mum. Oh. And yeah, I know. In this series, Jane explores heartbreak, religion, blended families, and the complex grief of losing an estranged parent. She has had a life, has Jane. She's actually been a freelance writer for 15 years, and that's how I first came across her here in Newcastle. She has a daughter, 2 cats, and a beloved houseplant called Donna. Let's welcome Jane to The Change.
Hey Laura, how you going?
I'm good, Cathy. How are you?
I'm really good. Tell me, you've got someone sitting in the room with you today.
Coming to you live.
I know.
From Laura's study nook.
My study nook. I have Jane with me, and it's so strange to have an actual guest in my little podcast nook. So
I know. I remember way back in season 1 when I did that, we recorded with Bron, and Bron recorded with me.
That's
and
right.
We had you on the other end of the screen. It felt strange, but kind of nice. So,
yeah.
Wow.
It is nice. It's nice to have a guest, a real live actual guest with us. But we had a few technical issues, which is why we're back. We're back recording Jane's interview, and she's such a great guest. We had to get her on twice. We had a dress rehearsal was the other version that you'll never hear.
And I feel bad for everything that went wrong. But I also am selfishly like, I get to spend another hour with you guys.
Yeah. We're going to go deep. Yeah.
Well, now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's kick off. Laura.
So Jane, you were raised in quite a religious community, and I think from our discussion and my knowledge of your background, your biggest first sort of childhood change was when your mum left the church and your life kind of, it changed. So maybe tell us a bit about that. What happened back when you were just a youngster going through that big one?
Sure. So we were part of an independent Baptist church, which is, I guess, it's a denomination of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's independent, so it broke away or was established outside of any sort of governing body, like the Baptist governing body, which, these independent churches, they can be absolutely amazing. Like there's a lot popping up now that are pro-LGBTQ+, so they were designed or founded specifically to support and be a safe community.
Mm-hmm.
But also they can be terrible because there's no one to keep egos or power in check. So we were part of a very small church, and some women flourished in that environment, but I think it really squashed my mum. It was very much of its time in the 90s where women had to obey the men if they wanted anything outside of marriage and babies. It was considered a bit weird, a bit sinful. And, she couldn't work. Her passion was dance. She wasn't allowed to dance because it was immodest. And I think it slowly, as well as, she had depression and anxiety and a chronic illness and her own trauma.
Mm.
And I think all of that combined really squashed her.
Mm.
And so I don't know how she did it, but she found the courage to leave my dad. And I don't know if she intentionally was leaving the church community or if it was that what she did was considered sinful. So her divorce wasn't considered a biblical reason, so therefore it was considered sinful. So I don't know if it was that she stopped talking to everyone or if it was just that everyone stopped talking to her.
Yeah.
So all her support ended overnight. She got a little rental. My brother and I had shared custody with her and my dad, so we still had one foot in that very religious setting, but we were also with my mum, who had just found her freedom. So getting piercings, a tattoo, magazines, all these things that were very restricted before, even the music that she listened to. And so she thoroughly enjoyed herself. She even money was controlled, so she did a lot of shopping, bought a lot of jewelry, good for her. But that was a huge change just because all of a sudden my mum, my safe person, was doing all these things that I was taught were sinful. So that was actually, I think I would have been 10 and my brother would have been 7. And so that felt very tumultuous when your safe person is doing things that you were taught are not safe. Even though, it's perfectly normal behavior, buying a magazine. Yeah, so it was a very strange time. But I also look back at that. It was only a few years before she got remarried. I also look back on it really fondly because I felt like she was my best friend. A bit like a Gilmore Girls thing, even though now we all know that that's like a toxic mother-daughter relationship.
Don't talk about it like that. I will not have the Gilmore Girls in the toxic realm.
Oh.
We can't, did you say?
No.
I'm so sorry. But that's what it felt like. I felt like I had my best friend. And so that freedom was the biggest change for all of us, definitely.
So you were going between your mum and your dad. So dad was still part of the church, mum was not.
No.
Yeah, so that would have been quite challenging for you as a 10-year-old, negotiating those two very different worlds. And
it was. I always felt perhaps I wasn't quite Christian enough. But then I always felt like I wasn't, in this other world as well.
And did your dad remarry or anything like that?
He did about 14 years ago.
Oh, okay. So a long time after. So
a very long time.
So in some respects, you also had to step up and be because are you the oldest or the youngest in the family?
I'm the oldest. Yeah.
So you had to step up for your dad and probably at a very young age be the woman of the house, assisting with all the things that would have been expected behaviours of your mum.
I did start cooking pretty young.
Wow.
And I started just doing things like washing my own clothes because I think as I was getting older, a lot of that puberty stuff and tween stuff gave Dad the ick. It was a bit it's like, I can't touch your undies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it was also a huge time of learning for him as well because, the expectation was that there would be a woman to do all that stuff for him. And so for the first time, he was learning to cook.
Yeah.
And it was very much like the single dad diet, which is a lot of experimenting, a lot of burnt food. And his specialty was
learning in the house, right?
Yeah.
His specialty was mincemeat, and that was the main thing. And it would be put with things that it shouldn't be put with, like pineapple juice or orange juice. Yeah, he might have
fruity mints.
Yes, he might have some Thai food.
Okay.
Be like, oh, that's coconutty. And so then he'll get pineapple and coconut juice and put it in the mincemeat.
Okay.
Anyway, I still feel a bit sick when I have mincemeat.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a huge change for everybody, you've gone from an ultra religious community, mum's left, you're with dad's trying to navigate, all of those things. So that's a lot for a young person to really have to take on as well.
I did not cope with it very well. I didn't cope with it at all. I became very impulsive.
Yeah.
as soon as I got a job, I just spent my
Yeah.
money on hair, clothes, never saved anything, impulsive purchases. I was very depressed. I would self-harm, but hid it very well.
Yeah.
And it got so bad at points that I would honestly just pray to God to let me die. Like, because I couldn't bear to face whatever was waiting for me in the morning. It was just a very, and that continued up until when Mum got remarried, all those behaviours worsened.
Yeah.
And then a few extras kicked in with just trying to reduce myself to nothing and be invisible. And yeah, it was really awful.
So you just mentioned, and you alluded to it as well a little bit earlier, that your mum remarried. So did that happen a long time after she left your father, or did it, I mean...
A few years.
Yeah.
So I think I was 14 when...
That's another big change, right? Like you've gone from mum and dad to no mum and dad, but not together mum and dad. Mum reimagining herself, finding herself in this world, and now mum getting remarried
to another religious man as well, which was so yes. I often thought about it of she left one jail to kind of have a bit of a break and then hopped back into another jail. He wasn't as, my wife must obey as that particular community was that I initially was in, but it was still quite restrictive. Yeah. And he had a lot of kids as well. So my brother and I ended up moving in to his house just because there were so many of them. So there were 7.
Just remembering. How many?
So 3 foster kids and 7 step siblings. And so my brother and I went
10.
for 10. Yes, 10. Yeah.
Wow.
The 3 eldest were off doing their own thing. So it wasn't like there was 12 of us in the house.
Gosh.
At once. But
that's a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah. And living with Mum before was so chill. There were no rules. She was very, very free-spirited. And then we kind of went into this house that felt even more restrictive than before Mum left because there were so many kids. They had a very strict routine. And it was probably actually very normal stuff. But coming from no rules to very, everything was just so at a particular time.
Like bedtimes and things like that, or?
Yeah, even computer usage or screen time, like watching the TV or what order you would do things in. So Mum never monitored homework. It was just we did whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't really have to even ask to go places. I would kind of just... I mean, to be fair, I mostly hung out at the library from around the corner.
A parent's dream. Yeah.
But yeah, moving there, I kept having to ask permission for things. And again, it sounds so silly saying it out loud, like, oh no, a teenager had to ask permission for something. Always told that she can't eat in the lounge room. But it was all coming from a stranger, essentially, my stepdad, because Mum stepped back from parenting, I guess, my brother and I to establish relationships, in particular with the 3 foster kids.
So before we get to the foster kids, so there's like 10 children living in the house. Your brother and you have moved in.
Yeah.
So you're trying to mesh these 2 families together, or 3 families, like with foster children as well, I suppose. And Mum's kind of stepped back out of the picture to sort of let someone else do all the parenting. Are you still going to your dad's place as well, like in all of that time?
Yes, for a little while.
Confusing.
It's a lot.
It was so confusing. And just that mindset as well of constantly having to switch gears. And it is living out of a suitcase. And both my brother and I got quite overwhelmed by the constant changes. So I ended up living with mum full time. And then at some stage, my brother ended up living with my dad full time.
Mm-hmm.
And because you crave stability and any kind of consistency.
Yep.
And we just weren't getting that for a very, very long time.
And so overstimulating as well. I imagine being in a room even just with all those people, like, you know, when you come home, normally you're kind of escaping like a classroom or a workplace, but your home was kind of like that. There was that many people living there at any one time. It was a lot of personalities and needs and wants and wishes and, I don't know, emotion to deal with all the time. I think I would be exhausted by that.
Yes. Well, that's where I gained my best skill, which is just to totally tune out.
Yeah.
Just to...
Or not.
Yeah.
Coping mechanism.
Yeah. I mean, even though I was tuning out and daydreaming, I was still absorbing all of that frantic energy. And, you know, my mum and my stepdad, they loved each other so much. Like the closest, I don't know if I believe in soulmates, but that's the closest I think you can get. They just absolutely adored each other.
So that's, I guess, a saving grace, maybe? I don't.
It is now that I'm older and I can recognize that.
Yep.
At the time, it just felt like a betrayal.
Yep.
I felt like I had been dumped.
Yeah, fair.
And my brother felt that way too. And I think all the kids felt that way because, you know, each child had their own unique trauma from their own parents, you know, split. And then we were all kind of squashed together, just a bunch of strangers in a way, all trying to live together and left to figure it out. And we only met twice before they got married, and then all of a sudden we were sharing space with these people.
Twice.
And
Sorry.
I can see your facial expression, Cathy. It's so funny. It is a bit like, it is very shocking. And that's why, you know, my mum and my stepdad, they did love each other so much, but it also made them maybe a bit too optimistic that everything would be okay when the whole situation just imploded and everyone left one by one. And at the time my mum died, and, you know, it wasn't just the relationship with the kids that imploded. It was family, friends, everyone, everything around them. So at the time mum died, all but like 2 people hadn't seen her in decades.
Right.
So it was a very strange experience. We were
They
all
became very insular.
Very, very insular. And I think in one of the letters that I write on my Substack was the narcissist and the enabler. And I don't actually know if my mum was a narcissist because it's hard to diagnose a dead person. But, you know, Google. Dr. Google, it felt like she had some of those behaviors and he enabled them. And there were scapegoats and some pretty humiliating things that happened. And I only noticed what was going on with me, but I do think that it probably happened to a lot of the kids, just being targeted, and it became a very volatile environment.
So what kind of happened? Like, what kind of happened next? You know, mum's remarried. You've thrown all of these children together. Some live together, some don't. You and your brother, you moved in permanently. Your brother moved with your dad permanently. Sort of what's the big? I mean, I guess we'll get to it. And you've alluded to that your mum has passed away and died, but there's obviously there's a chunk in between mum dying
and the estrangement, like,
and
that
there was
period.
like that period of you know, as you say, turmoil from everybody, and the estrangement from everybody.
So looking back, I mean, at the time I had no idea what was going on. I thought I just had a target on my back. I thought that they absolutely hated me.
And was it straight away, like quite soon after they got married, so sort of early teens?
It did feel very soon. I mean, my memories of that time are very blurry, very foggy. So, I mean, it could have been a year, it could have been a month. But it did feel pretty quick to me. But, yeah, looking back, the thing that kind of changed the environment completely was the 3 foster kids were taken away, and it was very abrupt. Docs showed up, packed their things, took them, and then it was done. They were gone.
Right.
And
were they siblings?
They were half siblings, yeah.
So they kind of were a unit.
3 of them were related.
Yeah, same mum.
Same mum, yeah.
And they'd been with my stepdad for years and years and years since the youngest was very, very little. And I think they might have been like, they were primary school age when they got taken, maybe year 7. And I still feel like I'm putting the pieces together. I don't think I'll ever know the full truth because I'm also wary that looking into some things will open very deep and still raw wounds. But some of the siblings, so my stepdad's kids, weren't too fond of my mum or of their dad. And so they wrote letters to docs, and I don't know, and they wrote it about my stepdad. And I don't know particularly what they said or what if it was true, but it flagged it for docs and they acted very quickly. And my mum and my stepdad had no idea what was said. So everyone kind of had that target and they got ultra paranoid and started accusing me of doing things that I didn't do, like conspiring with her mum, like my mum's mum, my nana, and her sister to get the kids taken away. And it was awful. It was awful. I felt absolutely hated. But I also loved my mum so much that I was desperate to gain her love. Like I felt like if I just worked hard enough, like if I was, beautiful enough, clever enough, funny enough, just the perfect human, then maybe she would love me. But things just got worse and worse.
This is heartbreaking, by the way. This is so sad. Like, I just think, as a mum of kids now, and you're a mum, just to think of your daughter, or I think of my kids thinking that way about your mum, and you can't. I mean, how can you be the perfect human? You could not be the perfect human. No one can be. But
I know.
So it must have been. You must have just been so exhausted and confused, and you're so young. And
I was very confused. I was so exhausted because so my tone was being monitored, even my body language was being monitored. So I started self-monitoring.
So what do you mean by that? Like, sorry, just to drill into, like, what do you mean by your tone was being monitored, your body language? What were they doing?
I think they were looking for proof that I was bad. Something. Yes. And so if I was sitting next to my stepdad and my knees were facing away from him, that was proof to them that I hated him, which then therefore would have made me a suspect and capable of writing letters to docs to get the foster kids taken away. Right. So it was stuff like that. They were taking huge leaps.
So very paranoid behaviour.
Very paranoid. And I think so there was an older stepsister that left. Then the foster kids got taken away. Then another stepsister left. Then
so how old were you when this is kind of like 14?
I think I was 16.
Yeah.
16 or 17.
Really tricky time.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, HSC or around that time of getting closer towards those important years of school.
I think it might have been March 2005 actually, so getting close to trials. And so I think what happened is I said to my mum I felt intimidated by my stepdad. And she felt very unhappy that I said that. And again, they took that as proof that And mind you, I had no idea that they suspected me at all of, going to docs. But yes, I said it was intimidating. They called a family meeting. They were kind of implying like, what's wrong with me that I would be so bad? And I was like, I don't know, like maybe I need to see a psychologist. What's wrong with me? Why am I so bad? And so they sent me to my dad's house as a punishment for 2 weeks. And I just stewed over that 2 weeks, and I was like, they don't love me. And so I wrote a letter saying, I've learned that there's no room for me in this house. There's not enough love for me in this house. And I admit I wrote it in the hope Mum would be like, no, you silly goose, I love you so much. Like, we want you to stay. But that's not what happened at all. I think I asked if I could move out slowly because it was almost my exams, my trials. But my stepdad just said, nope, if you're going now, like if you're going right now. So all my stuff was chucked into garbage bags, and I just sat on the side of the road waiting for my dad to come and pick me up. And then that was pretty much it. It was, so we ran into each other a few times, at funerals and just those life things.
How did your dad cope with all of this? Like, was he?
It's just awful,
Did he know how to deal with this?
Go on.
So sad.
Like, I want to hug the 16-year-old you. I want to hug the 10-year-old you. But did your dad know how to deal with any of this throughout all of this time? Like,
he was completely clueless as to what was going on. I locked it down. I barely spoke.
Tell him how?
No, I didn't tell him. And it was actually only a few years ago that I told him what happened, which is when a lot of the pieces.
How did he react when you told him?
He was devastated, and equally devastated that I didn't tell him what was going on. But Mum carried a lot of wounds, and she leaned on me a lot emotionally, and that meant she spoke to me a lot about Dad in ways that she shouldn't have. So I didn't feel comfortable telling Dad anything, and we had a terrible relationship. So it kind of, and that's why they sent me to Dad's for a punishment, because it felt, they knew that I would really, really struggle with that.
It's so sad, isn't it? And it's like, your mum obviously was going through her own trauma of and being in that house, and she was of an age where she may have been suffering from some obviously probably her own mental health stuff, but maybe some perimenopausal stuff at the time. Like, and we know, obviously you said your mum passed away later, so you stopped communication with her after that kind of letter, and she didn't, and then you saw her a few times at funerals and things, but that was it until you heard about her passing.
Yes. And so she died a stranger in a way.
So how much time passed? Was that like 10
12 years?
12 years,
I think. And so I don't feel like I really got to know her until after she died. And that's kind of when I learned about the extent of her mental health problems. She was hoarding a lot. She would have, 10 of the exact same item. If she found a foundation that she liked, it seemed like there might have been 20 of the exact same thing. Same with eyeshadows, shirts, shoes, handbags.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I mean, she had mental health problems before as well, but I had such a limited understanding of what was going on. And so coming back,
you were a child. You're not.
You didn't.
I mean, you were a child. You're not meant to be the adult in that situation. You're not meant to be the one.
It was like she couldn't be the adult either, in a way, could she? And sort of say, "I'm sorry," or
And even before she went into this quite restrictive community, she had been abused as a child. She had a father who became abusive when he drank. She had a brother who drowned when they were little. Like there were just so many awful things. Nothing got dealt with. And I guess that's how it manifested. And I feel so much compassion for her at the same time as anger and frustration.
And two things can be equal at the same time.
Yes.
Right?
True.
Yeah.
And so when your mum died, I read in this, because your Substack is called Letters to My Dead Mum. And you talk about the moment that you were eating a curly whirly, a chocolate bar, that is, for anyone uncertain, and your brother called you, or your dad?
My brother.
Yeah, and told you the news. Yeah.
Yes. And I have a very reactive body. In moments of high stress, I vomit.
Oh, fair.
I'm just I'm very classy.
No, I don't think I think that would be a very normal reaction.
Yes, 100%.
It's very out of body as well.
Yeah.
Because just a few weeks before she died, I had found a letter that she'd written me. And this is one of the reasons why I started my Substack. She wrote a letter to me when I was 2 years old saying, you know, she loves me. No matter what happens, she'll always love me. And I had found that letter. I was going through an old filing cabinet with my dad, and he handed it to me. And I couldn't believe it, because I had this narrative in my head of just someone that always hated me and thought I was bad. And then here was this just such a precious letter saying that she loved me. And I was thinking about what to do with this new information, if I should reach out. But it was kind of decided for me when she suddenly died of a pulmonary embolism at 1.
So how long ago was that?
9 years ago on August 10, actually. So
just passed. Yeah. Gosh, that's so much for such a young person to have to process and deal with. Like, there's just so much in there for, like, not only your trauma but your mum's trauma, and then to find that letter that she did unconditionally love you in her own way, but she didn't show that to you in any way, and you needed her to wrap her arms around you and make you her priority at a time when she didn't.
I craved hugs, definitely. But it's also, I've just had this lifelong craving to connect with people. And that's one of the main reasons why I write and why I started writing this Substack. And, you know, I'm still not sure if it's a good idea to, like, air a ghost's dirty laundry on the internet. She hasn't, like, haunted me so far, but it could be coming. But then people reached out with their own stories of estrangement and their own fears. Because obviously with everything that happened with my mum, I've been terrified of repeating that with my own daughter. And a lot of people have said that they have the same fears, or...
As in they want to try and make amends with their parents, so they're kind of reaching out to you?
No, not wanting to make amends, but also to connect in return and just say, this is my story.
Got it.
It's similar. Here are the differences. We're not alone. And also, when you do, sharing is really hard. Especially there's a lot of shame attached to it and attached to my experiences. And there's a lot of shame in estrangement as well, and self-blame. And so when someone talks about their own estrangement, I do think it gives courage to share.
I think so. I feel like estrangement is such a recent issue that people are talking about. Don't you feel like? I remember working at Mamma Mia, we were only talking 3 or 4 years ago, and estrangement or toxic parenting was such a quite a new subject area that people were really sharing about, because obviously people have been estranged from parents for many years. But as Jeanette McCurdy's book came out, I'm glad my mum died. Have you read that?
I haven't read that.
No.
It feels too close. I mean, her experience seems, it is very different and like 10 times worse. But no, I can't read that.
Okay, fair. Too close to home. Yeah. And so, having gone through all that trauma with your own mum, now you're a mum, you've got a daughter, she's only still quite little. What has it kind of taught you about parenting? What have your lessons learned been?
It's actually been very healing because I can't imagine ever doing to my daughter what my mum did to me. And so kind of going, oh, it wasn't actually me. My mum was going through her own stuff because there is nothing my daughter could ever do to make me treat her the way I was treated. I adore her. And it's also been very special seeing my own love mirrored back to me in the way that she treats me. So sometimes I'll get gentle parented about my tone. And I'm like, well, you did a really good job of telling me about that. Thank you. And that means that I did a great job of talking to her about her tone. And she's just so affectionate and she returns what I give. And I just think it's the most beautiful thing. I feel like the luckiest person on earth.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, it's lovely that you've had that kind of, completeness and been able to find some joy in all of the stuff, I guess, stuff being everything. Because I know my psychiatrist, he often says to me, closure, he wants to find the person, he's like, probably an American, that came up with the word closure, because there's no such thing. As far as he's concerned, there is just no such thing. We might get to a better understanding, we might get to a better place, we might get to a place of forgiveness or whatever, but he's like, you can't close the loop on stuff. Like stuff happens, and you learn to live with it, you learn to overcome it, you learn to sit with it, you learn to understand your behaviors because of it, but you can never really close the loop on things.
No, and it's very difficult to find your own peace because you do naturally gravitate towards wanting some sort of closure. I mean, that's why a lot of us, we love stories, right? Because of that definitive ending, it's done, let's move on. But you don't get that with a lot of trauma. You don't get that with a lot of family issues.
No. Yeah, I mean, we don't. And we're human and we're fallible and
messy.
We're not perfect, and life is messy. And you're right. When you think about the best novels that you've read or stories or things like that, they come to a complete ending and you kind of go, yay, I feel happy about, like, it might not be a happy story, but you feel like it's come to a fullness and a complete
satisfying.
But yeah, that's unfortunately not life. Life is messy and it's there's a lot of yuck in the middle. Yeah.
So true. And even if your mum had lived longer and you had have had a conversation with her about that letter, there's no saying that would have been like a closure or who knows what might have happened after that. So it's such a difficult grief. I'm imagining losing your mum is a huge grief, and yours is complicated for other reasons. But yeah, I suppose it's just something like you have to kind of live with and work through, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in some ways, death is the ultimate closure, isn't it? It's done.
True. Yes, it's final.
Yes. And so the decision was made for me about what I was going to do. So it did take some of the pressure off in a way.
And now you can invent your own ending, right? Like you can choose how you want to carry this forward. And
the writing is obviously part of that process. You've always been a great writer, but this is like a creative catharsis perhaps, or doing it.
I mean, I just couldn't get it out of my head. And I feel like I've finally been processing it just by putting the thoughts are very messy. There's so many things that run side by side in my brain at once, and they're all, trying to get out at the same time. And so that method of putting everything into order, kind of like doing a puzzle, has been very calming for my grief. And yeah, just for my life, really.
Gosh. And I mean, Jane, we could obviously talk to you for many hours. We've got many stories to tell, but I wondered, our podcast being called The Change, and we know you're well under 40.
You did call me an ally, though.
Yes. She's a
perimenopause ally.
She's an ally. She's a perimenopause
midlife ally.
Midlife adjacent, yeah, ally. But I was wondering, getting up towards 40, thinking about this next stage of your life, what are your thoughts about peri or menopause, or the change as we sometimes or used to refer to it? How are you sitting with that?
Seems very scary to me. I love information, so I'm already reading all about it. And actually, Cathy, one of the things you said in our initial chat was, now that I'd put out into the universe that I was going to be the kind of person that started stockpiling supplements and everything I need for perimenopause, that's all I would now see on Instagram. And you are so right. I'm getting ads for like vaginal pessaries. Is that how you say it? Creams for the vagina. Like, I think that something might happen to the vagina because it's all been vaginal stuff.
It's thin. Look, I mean, I'm going to go into the TMI, but it's kind of the same as all the other skin on and in our bodies. It loses the collagen. Yes, I'm squeezing my face for anyone who's not watching the video. It loses the collagen. It becomes very thin. And yes, so
I much to look forward to, Jane.
Well,
vaginal estrogen plumps the skin within the walls of the vagina.
Oh, for the pessary. So when you do,
and often, it's a plumping. It has a plumping effect. So,
I've heard that cream for the vagina is also quite good for the face. So there's a dual purpose.
Yeah, it has a bit of a dual purpose. You can use it for like little lines around. So I would not recommend it for that.
Yeah,
I'm not a medical professional.
Okay.
But I have heard the
I
same.
will be giving you a call if something goes terribly wrong. But I can't.
No, call your doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. No medical experience. I mean, lots of medical experience, but no medical advice.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I won't go home and experiment, but if I do, I'll be in touch.
Well, keep us posted. Keep us posted how you go.
I will.
Yeah. Long live
my vagina.
Yeah, that's right. Collagen infused vagina.
Although, like, it's estrogen, it's not collagen. Yes.
Whatever it is, it can stick around for as long as it was. Yeah.
Jane,
so all the men, like the 3 men that listen, we're sorry.
Yeah, no, we're not sorry. But yeah, obviously, thank you, Jane, for coming on and sharing so openly your story. And yeah,
it was so lovely to chat to you both.
And we will link Jane's Substack, Letters to My Dead Mum, in the show notes. And yeah, Jane, thank you so much for being so generous in your sharing, because
thank you.
I think it's
I love you guys. Just love you guys. Getting in there, hugging
Cathy.
you.
Oh my goodness. I actually don't know. I mean, I'm not speechless. I have lots of words, but I just don't know the right words. I mean, first of all, I just want to wrap my arms around Jane. And I think I said that during the episode. I want to wrap my arms around little Jane, teenage Jane when she lost her mum, well, like when she found out that her mum had died. She's not lost. She's not misplaced at the shops, as we've spoken about in the past. And just for all the versions of Jane in between, like
she's been through so much, and I think had so many changes. She is like the epitome of change, isn't she?
It really is.
grown up in that very hyper-religious environment that is so unfamiliar to me and to many of us, even though I did go to Catholic school. I think that intensely religious, almost cult-like, I'm not going to say, I shouldn't say cult because it wasn't, it was a religious community, and then having, her mum leave and that brief window of freedom for her and all those changes, and then the huge family, like that is a very, very big change, isn't it? And she did touch on her mental health, and I felt like I wanted to ask her more about that, and perhaps that's a whole nother episode really, because of course that's incredibly traumatic as a young person to have gone through all of those things.
Yeah, and I think she seems to be, we've spoken to Jane twice.
Yeah, we had the pleasure.
And in both of those conversations, she struck me as somebody who is navigating this with an incredible amount of grace and also empathy, both for herself now, herself in the past, her mum, who, I mean, we've never met her mum. We don't really know her mum. Maybe her mum doesn't deserve the empathy that Jane is showing, but maybe she does, I mean, maybe her mum was doing the best that she possibly could in very difficult circumstances.
That's right. And I think having, obviously her mum went through that trauma herself, and then going into religion and then marriage to kind of maybe try and bring some kind of security and stability to her life was actually not what she needed. She needed to do the work, probably in therapy, and Jane has done that work, and you can tell. And she's very smart and very self-deprecating, but she's obviously put a lot of time into herself being well as possible, and I think that's just a credit to her, and the writing, she's such a brilliant writer. Like, for anyone that may not have come across Jane's writing before, but check that Substack out. It's really good, and it will give you that next step on from our chat with her about some of the experiences she went through, and a bit more detail about her relationship with her mum. And it's just fascinating and so very sad. But she's not a victim.
No,
she's out there living her life and being a brilliant mum. Yeah. And that's wonderful. And I think that you made that really good point, Cathy. I hadn't thought about that before, what your psychiatrist said about closure. Such a great insight, I thought, that you can't always have closure.
You can't.
No.
A lot of time you can't. And a lot of time, you need to forgive someone who may never want the forgiveness or may never be able to receive the forgiveness. But in so many ways, the forgiveness is for you to find a peaceful way forward. It may not be that the other person even cares. Like, maybe they don't care, but maybe it helps you get through. And that's what struck me with Jane. She's found a way to get comfortable with what she lives with and find a path through.
Yeah, she was amazing. Yeah, check out Jane's Substack. We'll make sure we put a link in the show notes. And big thank you to Jane. And see
you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to The Change, a fully independent podcast. Whether you're seeking inspiration, curious about change, or just here for the great banter, we'd love you to make The Change your new go-to podcast.
And even better, send us your voice notes or questions about change. We'll use them on the show. Email us at changepod2023@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram at _change_pod. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram for more on The Change.